is always the trademark of a very professional and polished race car driver. He does make it look very, very easy.
Scheduled stop driver change in some respects, but the real reason is they've been having trouble with the alternator, and that is still giving them a bit of curry, just topping up the oil and changing the tyres as well. But the alternator and the battery problem has been ongoing. Mind you, it's not something they're paying a lot of attention to at the moment, so maybe it was just the odd connection there, because it's not something that's put a lot of time in during this stop. It's mainly been change of tyre and driver. Larry Perkins now coming out. Interestingly, the car's had a bit of a shunt up the front while it's been out there as well. So, and now more trouble. I think Steve Harrington is pointing to the crew. Seems to have some sort of problem, but he hasn't cut the engine, so you would think they would be going shortly. But this has been a fairly lengthy stop for what was really hoped to be just the changing of one connection. Trouble's the back left-hand wheel. It's now done. They're off. But that's cost them a bit of time, and they haven't really had a lot of time to play around with all the mistakes they've had.
Rejoining the race in 12th position is the Perkins-Harrington Commodore, Bob Jane sponsored entry, and we go back to race leader Mark Scaife. Young man in a hurry, and he's in such a hurry he's achieved almost everything at the age of 25. The Australian Touring Car Championship, defending champion here in the Tooheys 1000 at Mount Panorama. That was after having finished second in the Touring Car Championship of 1991. He's also the Australian Drivers' Champion, and originally from the central coast of New South Wales, but now firmly ensconced in Melbourne, headquarters of the Winfield Nissan team.
We've got some of the telemetry from Johnson's car in the hands of Johnny Bowe at the moment. There you are. You can see what the car's actually doing. This is the way they monitor the health of these vehicles as they race back in the pits.
Yeah, very often the guys in the in pit lane actually find out there's something wrong with the car before the driver does, before he gets a chance to look at the gauges, and you can see the turbo boost pressure there in the middle going up and down as Johnny Bowe presses on the throttle and then backs off either for a slower car in front of him or one of the tighter corners.
So we've got a tacho at the top, Richard.
Yep.
And then we've got barometric pressure, how much pressure we've got in there.
Yeah.
And we've got speedo there that reads out below that in units.
And then you can see what gear he's in at the bottom there. Just drops down to second as he makes his way down through the dipper. Past some of the slower cars. And now.
So these days, for the contemporary touring car driver with this sort of technology available, Big Brother is always watching. You can't say that you didn't over-rev it. You can't say that you weren't hammering the brakes.
Certainly is. The telemetry readout from Klaus Needsvit's run in the top 10 yesterday showed how his foot had slipped off the throttle twice, and the boost and the revs just died.
You can't come back and fib to the team boss anymore.
Temperatures there, so the water temperature at the top, and the oil temperature and the oil pressure down below.
And indeed, if we're getting any charge from the alternator, that car looks pretty healthy. It's looked healthy all day, it's sounded healthy all day, and it's doing the Shell team proud.
Larry Perkins could perhaps have done with having a look at one of those when the battery died on his car earlier on.
First the battery, and then the alternator, and I think they've actually been in twice to look at the alternator. It's cost Larry Perkins a great deal of time.
Number 2, Nissan, with Anders Olofsson at the wheel, coming in.
Now this will be a driver change. Crompton will get in here.
Mark Oastler's there.
Absolutely, Wilco. Neil Crompton getting in, Anders Olofsson out of the car. These guys are going to affect a front brake pad change. Due to those pace laps early in the race, when it was nice and cool, they have reduced their brake pad wear quite substantially. So as you can see, doing a quick brake pad change. Freddie Gibson said he could affect this change in about 40 seconds front to back, so they're only looking up the front, so that'll be even shorter still. I've just been timing the gap between the 17 car and the car 2 is about 35 seconds. So that'll drop Crompton back and, of course, move the 25 car up into third position. It's going to be a sting tactical battle from here.
Well, the set of pads going into that rear wheel there took a little bit longer than the rest of the car, so the stop taking longer than Freddie Gibson would like, I'm sure. But wheel on, air jack hammers the nut tight. And back into the race goes Neil Crompton, now at the wheel of car number 2.
Dick Johnson getting ready. The Shell boys obviously are going to be coming in shortly. He's getting geared up for what will be the final driver change for this car.
Mark Scaife into the pits, Jimmy Richards into the car. But while that was happening, that has enabled John Bow, the number 17 car, to go through and take over the lead in the race, but he has yet to pit, and there's the man that has to take over for the run to the checkered flag, and that's Dick Johnson. As we go to Jimmy Richards, there's apparently a problem there with the fire extinguisher inside the car. It's gone off, as you can see across to the right. It's covered one of the lens with foam.
Just up to the top right hand of the picture, you can see the foam all over the race cam.
I wonder, Jim wouldn't appreciate if we asked to come in and just clean the lens for us, would he?
That's the shot.
That's the shot. That's why we can't generate race cam out, because the fire extinguisher's gone off inside the car. Actually, it's spitting.
We lost a bit of foam there. Let's have a look at it. Don't let it put you off, Jim.
So that's the situation as Jimmy Richards goes through.
Dick Johnson jumping into the number 17 Shell Sierra, the new race leader. They are changing tyres. They're going to have a look at the brake pads. They're not quite sure if they're going to change it. Team manager Ross Stone, I only spoke to seconds ago, said they are going to have a look at them. This is their last chance. They do have the lead and they don't want to give it up. I say that as the Nissan of Jim Richards goes straight past the start-finish line. It doesn't look like they're going to change the pads from here. Just as I say that too, they do. The windscreen getting a bit of a clean. Johnson's ready to go. A face of stone. John Bow gets out dripping wet, but a very happy man. And everything seems to be going to plan. The back wheels are fine. We're just waiting on the two front wheels as they simultaneously put the pads on now. It will only be a matter of seconds here in the Shell pit.
This stop is actually taking a lot longer, I think, than the team would wish. 40 seconds, just over 40 seconds was what the Nissan managed to do it in. He still rejoins in second position though.
Mark Scaife just come in, the car's gone back into the lead, looking a very strong performance from the Nissans here today.
Well, it's been a fantastic performance. You know, obviously the weather's helped us a little bit, but the car's fantastic. That's as hard as you can drive the car just then, and obviously the car's going very, very well.
A few spots of rain now falling here in pit lane, and we have a report from Orange: hailstorms.
Well, we've had everything else.
Well, I don't know. We might get the race in, hopefully, before the hail arrives.
Rain, hail, sleet and dark of night. It's a pity that the post office doesn't have an entry in the 30th anniversary race. They'd be a sure thing.
Terry Shield, the number 18, Dick Johnson, Shell Sierra. Mark Gibbs and Rowan Onslow. Mark Gibbs at the wheel of the GIO machine was 8th. They came into the pits.
Scott and Jason Bargwana on screen, and they are leading the 1600cc class in the Mercantile Mutual Corolla. 21st outright as well, which is a tremendous performance. There's been a three-way battle in this category all day between the Bargwana cousins, Peter Verheyen and Jeffrey Full in car 74, and the early